Hi there. I've decided to do an Afghan stitch sampler, and for my guide I'm using Leisure Arts 52 Tunisian crochet stitches to combine and make a sampler. I got this as a download. In fact, I have a hard copy somewhere. It was in print years and years and years ago and just located somewhere in this house, but I have no clue where. And frankly, the download's rather convenient because it's on my iPad and I prefer it. I never lose my iPad. I definitely lose paper a lot. For this sampler, I'm also going to be using cotton yarn, which I've never done before. And I'm using the sugar and cream. I went to a local craft store and bought just about every color they had. And I'm going to be using a cream as my background border. I'm going to be doing the borders a little differently than they show in that pamphlet, and plus I'm making the blocks a different size. I've decided to make my blocks 36 stitches in width, and the Afghan stitch is a little taller than it is wide, and so it takes more stitches lengthwise than it does rows to make a square. I know that's clear as mud, but in essence, if you look here at my border, and this border will be going around each of the different blocks, my border rows, there's only 3 rows, but my border column is essentially 4 stitches. And the reason is that it pretty much takes 4 stitches to every 3 rows to match and gauge to get a square. And so I've done 36 inches because for the block itself, because it's divisible by both. And if I take 36 divided by 4, I come up with 9. And if I take 9 times 3, then 27. So in essence, for 36 stitches, I should do 27 rows and it will more or less be square. And we'll see how that goes. For the very first block, I'm just doing the basic Afghan stitch or simple stitch. And that involves, once you've done your chain, which I chained 40, I chained 36 for the block plus 4 for the border. So I came with 40. Then I did my 3 rows for my border. And then now, let's see if I can get this all lined up yarn-wise for you. Now I'm going to just go into each front post, wrap my yarn around, and draw through. This is the first half of the row. The row consists of 2 parts. First going right to left to the end where you bring up the stitches, and then left to right where you drop them off. And that's what each row consists of. So the first half of the row is bringing up, and when I get done going through each one of these posts, I should have 40 stitches, 36 for the block of purple, and then 4 of the cream for the white, for the border rather. Oops. And I'm just going to do 1 row for you. It's really tricky looking through the video for these stitches. And so I'm actually looking under the camera and hoping it's staying in focus. It's kind of like when I first started learning how to take pictures with my iPhone, and instead of looking through a viewfinder, I was looking at the camera picture. Not that I'm dating myself or anything. I've got this leaning on my bed. I tried doing this with 3 legs on the tripod, and I've got one leg on the bed and the other two on the floor, because when I tried 3, I could not get the tripod close enough to a chair that I could actually see what I was doing when I was stitching and still keep everything reasonably in focus. So hopefully this isn't jiggling too much. Otherwise I might just have to break down and get a video camera, which I'm trying not to do, because this is just for fun. Okay, now I'm going to change colors, and I'm going to the cream. I've got the cream on a bobbin, and that is just, and the purple is still on the skein. And the reason for that is it's just easier to keep them untangled. But the bobbin, you have the luxury of winding it pretty short and close to where you're stopping. So I just let the purple hang, and I pick up the cream. And then when I go into the end, I want to make sure that I'm picking up both strands. And if you look on the back side, there's an individual strand back there. It doesn't show up real good here on this picture, but I'm going through both strands. You could do it with just one, but you end up with these big holes. And as you can see there, by going through both, it's nice and close-looped, which is exactly what I'm going for. Okay, when I come back, and you do this with all of your rows, you go, for the first one, you just go through one. There's no dropping involved. And that's just basically to square off the row. Then the rest of them you're going to pull through, and you're going to catch 2 loops at a time until you're down to 1 loop. And so these first few, I do the cream. When the next one to be done is a different color, in other words, you're going through 2 loops at a time. When the loop on the right is a different color, that's when you switch your draw through loop to that color. So in this particular case, I'm switching to the purple, and I just let the white drop behind me. And then we go through. And this is the second half of this one row. Now there's also on the website, and she does a much better job with her camera than I'm doing, a Tunisian tutorial, YouTube tutorial on both the knit stitch, the basic simple Afghan stitch, chaining, and how to get that row set up, etc. So feel free to look at those. And you can also just Google it. They're all over the place. Or you can try to figure out what I'm doing. I might actually make it through this video without getting photobombed by my dog. This is take number 3. The first 2 she managed to show up, stick her nose in the middle. So at some point during this Afghan, I'm sure I'll be introducing you to her. Chloe, she's a sweetie, but also a pest. Periodically looking over there, and it more or less looks like it's in focus. The very first one I did, I thought I was doing good, and then I went to watch it and I went, oh my gosh, there was no saving it. It was so out of focus. Okay, so that's your basic Afghan stitch row. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, only 22 more to go for this particular block. And I'm not going to torture you with that process. But this is one row, and it consists of going this way and coming back. That's when you've completed a row, is when you're down to 1. Alright, thanks for watching. The next video will be after I've got this one done and the border on in between it. We'll be starting the purl stitch, or possibly the knit stitch. I think we'll go to the knit stitch. You'll find out when the next video comes out. Thanks for watching. Bye.